Are you a teacher who is confused and unsure where to start when it comes to integrating AI into the classroom? If that's you, don't be worried because you're not alone. This video provides teachers the opportunity to learn the foundational steps required to integrate AI into the classroom using a process called CAC Co-Intelligence. It's not just about AI integration. It's also about helping students learn how to learn and to get them participating in the thinking processes. So the CAC Co-Intelligence framework has 3 stages: using our mind, enhancing with AI, and then using our mind again. I recommend applying this process in classroom tutorials or workshops which require students to work together in small groups. If we have students in a classroom, let's make the most of human face-to-face contact by getting students to work together, collaborating, sharing ideas, and learning off each other. Let's get into a sample activity. When we're going through CAC activities, I highly recommend that you use a slide layout similar to this that makes the different CAC stages explicit. From research that we've done, we have developed evidence that the more explicit that you make this, the more easily it is for students to connect to and remember the stages. Now, this activity can be anything, but what's important is the conversations that you have with the students. As they undertake the activities, your job is to help them think about their learning processes and helping them participate in the thinking processes. So if we unpack what's required from this first step, we really want students to think first. And generally, this starts by making sure that students really understand the problem that they are trying to solve. Guide them through the steps to help them plan and prepare the processes required to solve the problem that you've given them. Where possible, guide them through traditional proven methods. For example, if the activity involves brainstorming, help students identify and recall different brainstorming strategies that you might have learnt about prior. Then you might want to start the conversation towards what happens if we want to use AI to enhance our work. And before we even engage with AI, we need to get the students to start thinking about the ethical implications. For example, if the student was to provide a prompt to the AI regarding the sample question that I put on the screen earlier, are there any ethical implications in doing that? For example, are there any data security issues? If the student was simply to type in the question into a generative AI, for example, then there are no data security issues on the student side because the student isn't providing any information. All the information is going to be coming from the AI. However, a possible ethical implication could be the biases associated with the solutions that the AI provides. This provides a really good activity to get the students to engage in the awareness of the ethical implications of what they are doing. On a similar note, this is about getting students to understand how AI can possibly enhance their work in regards to the activity rather than replace them. During and at the end of each step, make sure that you have conversations with the student regarding their learning. You want to be prompting them with questions such as, did learning occur through this activity? If it did, how did it occur? Was it effective? If learning didn't occur, why? At the end of the 3 stages, we want to synthesize this conversation. We then move to step 2. Step 2 is about using AI to enhance the work. And in this example, I require students to engage with the technology in order to go beyond what they were capable of doing in step 1. When it comes to foundational activities, I really encourage allowing students to use any generative AI technology, especially if there's no data security issues, because this allows students to gain a good grasp of the different weaknesses, strengths, and similarities across the different technologies. So when students are undertaking these tasks, it's very important to engage into the conversation so that students know that it's being used as a supportive tool and not as a replacement. These days, we almost always go straight towards generative AI, but that is not the only type of AI technology. We need to have a conversation about what is the right type of AI and which is the right model within that type of AI. And along the way, we need to be reminding the students that the AI output can be flawed. So what does this look like in practice? On the screen, I provide an example prompt of what most students do when they're first encountering AI. They more or less take the wording of the original question and just type it as a prompt. From that, a pretty standard response is something that is now on the screen. It's more or less a selection of short, sharp answers. And as a result, you'll get a scenario such as the one on the screen, where we have great diversity in the amount of implications found between the various different student groups. The task here now becomes on helping the students unpack what they have uncovered. So for example, if we have student groups with a similar amount of implications, we make the discussion as to why did that happen? And then we try to unpack whether they all got the same outputs. If not, why was that different? Then we try and look at some extremes. Why did one group get 15 implications and another group get 5,000 implications? This provides a starting point of a discussion of how different prompting strategies can create vastly different results. Which leads us to another very important point, which is if you take the example on the screen of 5,000 implications, well, is 5,000 implications even any good? Do we really want that? What is the quality of those implications? Are they mainly repetition? Do they serve the purpose? Are they relevant? And so forth. The key task here is to synthesize and guide the students through the thinking process so they become aware of their thinking and they become aware of the limitations and the strategies that they can use when engaging with AI. This leads us to the third step, and this generally involves getting the students to synthesize what they completed across step 1 and step 2. Through this synthesis, they develop their critical thinking skills. And at the same time, what we really want to do is we want to get them to develop their evaluative judgment skills so that they can think critically in regards to accuracy, logic, and alignment. And we really want to connect this to the higher order thinking skills that students are developing. Again, we really want to make this explicit so students can really understand that. We also want to be able to explicitly question the students so that they can think about how much did you learn through the AI component, step 2, and how much are they learning here in step 3. Make the students think about their learning. We also need to guide students through the refining and validation of the AI outputs, and through the synthesis that provides a good opportunity to do this, as well as connecting the students to the traditional sources. I call AI as a tool. The reason why I call it as a tool is because the human must take responsibility and be in control of its usage. Therefore, it's important to embed this thinking into the activity and into your discussions. Once this is done, it's also important to bring to the fact that CAC Co-Intelligence isn't a one-off process. Generally speaking, students will be expected to go through multiple iterations. Finally, at the end, I would really recommend that you have a class discussion where you reflect on the learning experiences and you discuss what students have been able to get out of this activity and how this carries on and connects to further activities or further assessment tasks. As a reminder, each of these steps should be as explicit as possible. And if done correctly, we will help students understand that when it comes to learning, AI is not about automation. It's about helping students reflect and go beyond what they were capable before, using the AI to help them improve. I have a range of videos, how CAC Co-Intelligence can be applied to the different stages of project work. helping students understand how cognitive AI, cognitive processes can be used to enhance their thinking and push what they can achieve to further heights. These videos can help extend the concepts that we've discussed in this video. I hope now that I've provided you with a very good understanding of how AI can be integrated into the classroom through your deliberate guidance. If this video was of any help, please feel free to provide further information in the comments. I'm Dr. Sasha Nikolic. Thank you for watching.